to say. Also, they had put in that if you was a resident alien, not resident, if you had your national, if you had your immigration card and you was a resident alien and you were, it was verified and you was current, you could get it. As long as you had your immigration on your green card, you could get it. Then they changed it that the person had to be working, had to have work or put in 10 years, it would equal 10 years, 40 quarters into the workforce. So when I came back, and I don't know what had happened, I was screening some people, and my manager said, oh, no, you're doing it wrong, and she said, well, the people now can get it. It used to be if they did not have 10 years of work history in the United States, they couldn't get it. Now, she said that and I'm going to say allegedly, the grocery stores went and they complained and said that it had hurt their business, that they had lost a lot of money because a lot of people wasn't getting the food stamp or buying groceries. So they did away with that, but they left the people who had the drug felonies couldn't get food stamps. Okay, I know y'all gonna ask, so I don't know. I'm gonna give you this information. Okay. Only U.S. citizens and certain lawfully present non-citizens may receive SNAP benefits. Non-citizens who are eligible based on their immigration status must also meet other SNAP eligibility requirements such as income and resource limits. Okay, so basically in a nutshell, there are people who can get it, and we're fixing to go over this right quick. And let's see, non-citizens eligible with no waiting. Talking about that, I'm gonna stop. I saw something in New York where they showed the people that was living in a shelter, some of them had been there months, that they were being removed or rehoused or kicked out for the immigrants or the people that our infamous Governor Greg Abbott and the Governor DeSantis was sending to New York. So they actually showed people, they kind of was trying to block their face. They were fighting it out in those shelters. And they interviewed one of the ladies. She said that she felt it wasn't fair. She was a black lady. And that she's on 5 types of medicine. And that the place where they had sent her, they were not able to have food. That she had, I'm just going to use this as an example. She didn't have this, but she had a little carton, no bigger than this, with some food that she was trying to hold on to. And I thought, that's sad, because we have been there. Even, we all, like I just told you at the beginning, half of the people that works at a food stamp program or whatever, they have been on food stamps. Some of them, if they're in the clerical pool or schedule, they might have an active food stamp case. My supervisor, she had family members that was on it. I knew people who were managers from another office would call a caseworker and say, hey, you got my sister's case, when you gonna finish it? Or I want to call and verify some information for you for my sister, that yes, I give her a certain amount of money for the utilities, blah blah blah. We had a family friend who owned a facility, I don't know if it was a halfway house, but I found out when I went to bring some gumbo. My mom had cooked some good old seafood gumbo for the people that were staying there. It was a husband and a wife. They were homeless. They didn't have any kids. And I came back to the house and I told my mom, hey, this woman is locking the ice box up. She actually had a chain over the freezer and over 2 of the boxes, and the people said that she would lock it up because she didn't want folks going through her freezer, her ice box. And she was getting food stamps for those people, but was locking the ice box up. just had to say that when I saw those people, and my heart just went out, because if you are on medicine, you have to take that medicine at a certain time. You have to have food on your stomach. You have to refrigerate. Some medicine you have to be refrigerated. So they kicking her out of a place she's been at 6 months. You know, I don't know. I just hope that they get something in place. Let me be quiet. Let me go into this. So here are the people who qualify, who are non-citizens. Qualified alien children under 18 years old. Refugees admitted, no, not the fugees, okay? I'm just playing. Refugees admitted Section 207, including victims of severe forms of trafficking. So basically people who's been trafficked, human trafficked. Victims of trafficking under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000. Asylees under Section 208 of the Immigration, okay. Deportation were held under, they naming all these things, I don't know, 243. Okay, immigration immigrants under the 584 of the Foreign Options. Cuban or Haitian entrants, I got a mouthful to say. Cuban or Haitian entrants as defined in 501. Okay, of the Act of 1980. Okay, I have to make a part 3 where I'm just do this separate, because I'm confused as to right around the holidays or right before they made the Haitians people go back, and then right when they made them go back, they brought all those people from Afghanistan. And one of my friends who's from New Orleans, she's working at a facility that housed Afghans, and all she do is just serve food. And she was telling me she's making like $1,500 a week. But yeah, so they, and then now I'm seeing everybody that I see that they sent it to New York City from Florida and from Texas. I don't see anybody that look Haitian. I mean, so I don't, you know, I'm not getting there. I'm just gonna keep it real. Okay, Iraqi and Afghan special immigrants, just like I told y'all. Certain American Indians born abroad, members of the Hmong, I don't know if I'm saying it, not Hmong, the Hmong, Hmong, or Highland Laotian tribes, legally living in the U.S., that helped U.S. military during the Vietnam War. Elderly individuals born on or before August the 22nd, 1931. Lawful permanent residents in the U.S. who are receiving government payments for disability or blindness. Lawful permanent residents with a military connection. Okay. Qualified aliens, and I'm going to go back to that. Qualified aliens eligible after a waiting period. A qualified alien is a non-citizen with certain immigration status defined under the personal responsibility and work opportunity. Okay, a qualified alien does not belong to one of the non-citizen groups listed above, can be considered for SNAP benefits. Okay. So getting back to lawful permanent resident, I think that means person who is naturalized. That's what I'm thinking. And talking about that, I remember 2 particular cases I had, and I will leave the comments open so you can share with me your thoughts on that. One was, I don't know if this man was from, I want to say he was from China or Vietnam. So he was like almost 80 something years old, or in his mid 70s. So his kids had brought him, and I was working with golly, who was working with me? I don't know, someone. I had someone else in the office with me that was working with me. So, and we had to run the paper on the computer to see that the naturalization was legit or whatever. So, and I kept thinking, okay, so I asked the young lady, did your dad work here? Does, you know, because I'm thinking, going back to what my manager had said, the people had to have 40 hours of 10 years of work history. She's like, no, he's never worked here in the United States. He worked back in his country. And she was saying, we're trying to get my mama naturalized. So as I guess as soon as they had got him naturalized, whatever the month or the week that paper was done, they were in the office applying for benefits. Okay, that's one. Second lady, I remember, I think she was either Iranian or I think she was Iraqi. she was disabled. I forgot what was wrong with her leg or her foot. So she was telling me all the things she was doing. She was going back to college, and that was getting paid for, and something else was going on. And then she got on housing or Section 8. Somebody had helped her with that. And I asked, I said, well, oh, she was on SSI. Okay, that's it. She was on SSI. So I asked, I said, well, how did you get injured, or what happened? Was it over here? I'm thinking it was here. I didn't know. So she said, oh no, this was, back in my country. And I'm thinking, how did she get SSI? So I guess I'm thinking if you naturalized, no matter what country you came from, once you become naturalized, if you have a disability, you automatically get the SSI, the Social Security. I wasn't sure because we were looking at each other and trying to, I don't know, about some crazy stuff. Crazy. So it's first stuff, because everybody think what they think that, oh, it's just those guys, it's just those people, it's just, this person. That's not true, you guys. Okay, so here I'm gonna start off with, and I'm gonna just leave it up to you and you tell me what you think. Social Security numbers. I know one of my friends just called me, was complaining about the Social Security. Somebody stole her information, and now they're telling her that she needs to get a new Social Security number. She needs to get a new driver's license number, and they're gonna give her a new number. And she's like, I don't want to do that. So she went and put LifeLock. If anybody know anything about that, tell me, so that way I can tell her, because she's saying that she's thinking that she doesn't want to change the Social Security. I'm like, I didn't know that you could. I thought that once you had a Social Security number, you were stuck with that for life. So moving on, Social Security numbers. Why am I bringing this up? My manager would make me, my supervisor would make all of us, if you, let's say I'm interviewing or screening, the screener or the secretary would screen the people and bring them their information to us. So I've had somebody named, I'm making up a name, Joanne Collins, and I see two places where Joanne Collins worked. Let's say it's Family Dollar and Walmart, and then I see another name say, and I'm just gonna make up a name, and don't get upset. I'm just making up a name. I see Martina Gomez, or I see Javier Mohammed working at Burger King, or working at, I don't know, maybe Home Depot or Costco. And once she would say, no, that's not me. I've never worked at those places. Okay. My manager would be like, you still got to make them go to the Social Security office, and you still got to make them go to the police station, but somewhere else, to make them get a statement that that's not them. And I'm thinking, why do I have to do that? I mean, of course, I got to do what my supervisor tell me, but the person's already told me and showed me the checks, and you pretty much know when you see a completely different name, that is not, Marianne Williams or Joanne Collins or whatever. So with this particular lady, this was a young Russian lady. I want to say they were Russian, and they were new to the country. And my manager had read my folder or my file or whatever, and she said, oh, okay, I see it shows that she's working at Family Dollar. I remember it was Family Dollar. You got to make her go to the, I don't know, Social Security, whatever. So I told her, I said, is this you? Do you know anybody by this name? She's like, ma'am, I don't. She said, where I stay, everybody is, I guess she was trying to say, like me, they're from Russia, or they from my country, and I don't even talk to anybody. I only talk to the people from back home, and I don't know anybody. I've never worked in this country. I think she said she didn't even work back home where she came from. So make a long story short, when she came back, she went and whoever was with her and brought her back, and we were talking in the hallway, and she said, ma'am, the police said they couldn't do anything. And she showed me the little thing. And she said the Social Security office said they wouldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything. I'm thinking, someone is out there using your information, and you tell me the police department and the Social Security cannot do anything. And the same thing with the other lady. I'm wondering, I asked a friend who works, I forgot where she worked, if a person has someone using their information, their Social Security number, can you use that when you file for unemployment? Will the unemployment people give you those hours? When it's time for you to retire, will they give you those earnings to help build up your Social Security? I'm fixing to answer that question, and nobody needs to tell me, no, they won't. They will not. So when she came back, she was in tears. She said, you know what, I want to go over there to that Family Dollar to confront that person who was using my information. And my manager was like, oh, no, you can't give her that info. I'm thinking, you just told me to to ask her to go do this and that, and she did it, and now you tell me I can't show her the paper that I'm looking at, the store or wherever the location, who this person is. So that's just a head up. I would suggest for everybody or anybody, especially if you had your purse lost or stolen, if you live in an apartment or condo or a townhome, to make a habit of going every 6 months and go get your Social Security number checked to make sure someone is not using it to work somewhere. Just a heads up. And we saw a lot of that, and it was really difficult to try to tell people or explain, because you got a lot of people, they don't have cars. Sometimes they don't even have money to get the bus. So you're telling someone to go here and to go there to verify that they are not that person working at Burger King or Family Dollar. Just a heads up. Okay, some more fraud. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about people on my team. When I say people on my team, meaning my coworkers, people I've worked with, people I've heard stories about. So one of them I'm going to talk about, and yes, it's my bad handwriting. Men on my team. Some of the guys, and we had a few men that, will be like, hey, don't close the door on me when I'm working on my interview and I'm talking to the female clients or customers. Don't close the door. And I'm like, why? I had one guy had accident, went in his office to get him to help me with something, and I didn't realize I had closed the door, and he was an African guy, and he just went like in a rage. Don't close that door, don't close that door. I'm like, he said, I told you guys, I've had customers, and I know other dudes who've had customers will accuse them of sexual harassment. I don't want my door closed. Keep my door open, because I want anybody to pass by. They can see and hear and know what's going on in my office or my room. If something come back on me, somebody. And I was like, I didn't know. But yes, that has happened. Okay, moving on to my next team member. And this one was sad, and it was, yeah, I'm going to say it was kind of comical. One of my team members, and this chick could roll those R's. She knew how to speak Spanish. She knew how to read in Spanish. She knew how to write in Spanish. And no, she was not Spanish, and she was not an Afro-Latina. She was a black lady, and she was married to a black man. And I asked her, I said, is your husband black? No, is your husband Hispanic? She said, no. She said, why would you think that? I don't cut. I meant like, how can somebody speak Spanish so good that, you just can just roll those R's? Nobody, I forgot what kind of class she took. Maybe one of those immersion classes. But yeah, so she said she was in our co-worker's office. He was a Hispanic guy. Nice looking guy. I liked the guy. I didn't have any problems with him. He would sometimes go in, when he go to lunch, bring me something back. He would sing my name in Spanish. So I was cool with him. Okay, so when she came back and she said, girl, I just was in so-and-so's office, and he's in there asking the woman if she got a boyfriend, and she told him no. And then he asked her, well, how did you get those hickeys on your neck? And she told him, what is it to you? Why are you in my business? So then she says that she was she didn't know to report him, basically. Should she report him to our supervisor, who was really cool. He was a big heavy-set black guy, real nice guy, really religious, always sing spiritual songs. Go in his office, he always had Christian songs, gospel music. But I don't think, and I'm not going to name this lady, I'll just call her Miss L. I don't think Miss L reported him. So let me tell you what happened to him. So a customer came in, I shouldn't say customer, a client came in, like that following Monday, like first thing that Monday morning, because they came back, because I didn't know, when I had passed by his office, he wasn't there. So Miss L came in and she said, they let go so-and-so. And I was like, what? She said, yeah. She said a customer came in bright and early and told the higher ups, and they took her to the head honcho over our building, over our location, that I'm going to just call him, this is not the dude's name, but I'm just calling him Hector. That Hector had came by on a Saturday, passing by her house, got out of his car and knocked on her door and asked her for a date. And I'm going to say allegedly, like Wendy Williams. I'm going to say allegedly. This is a true story. The dude did get fired. So this right here is that we do have corrupt people who work for government agencies. I think there was one I read a while back. I don't know if this was in New York or where, but they had one guy who was asking favors from women who was on housing or Section 8 when he go to inspect their house or their apartment. So you do have those little perverts that be, when you give a person an inch, what do? They take a yard. Moving on to my next one. My supervisor left. He was really good. He would get on my nerves. He would get on a lot of our nerves, and he would always holler and scream. So he had left, and the woman that was going to take over his spot, and everybody was upset. We were already upset because he was leaving, but this woman that was taking his spot was a Christian woman of God, or as Shirley Caesar and the people say, woman of God. I had to say it. And her brother, I think he was her younger brother, worked in the building with us, but he worked in a different unit. So he was the supervisor. So when we would we had games that we would play with other units, other departments in other locations. It was like Family Feud, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, but it was over our company rules, our company guidelines, and playing back and forth. What would you do? With a customer or client that was rude or irate, what would you do if you are a customer? What would you do if you saw something? Policy stuff. So what we had noticed, we had been saying is, boy, when we have dinners with these guys, they be having home down dinners. How do they afford ham, turkey, steak, fish, gumbo dinners? Well, we found out that they did away with her department, her unit, because it had got back that they had all had dummy folders taped under the desk. So while we were using our little once a month stipend state income, barely surviving, these gals, they had fake food stamp vouchers they was cashing in every month, from anywhere from $200 to $400. So that's why they were able to bring, and I'm gonna put allegedly, it is a true statement because this lady was my supervisor. Okay. So we were like, okay, so they let all them go. Why didn't they let her go? Why is she our supervisor over our unit? She should have been let go, because you cannot tell me, just like I work with the dude that was flirting with the girl, you cannot tell me that you're the manager or the supervisor. You don't know that you have people in your department making up fraud cases, fake food stamp cases, vouchers. I don't know. We never got any information if they were prosecuted or if they got away with it. But yes, they brought this lady to our department to be our manager, and she appeared to be a good woman. You know, she appeared to be religious, always talking about scriptures, had all kind of religious pictures on her wall. You walk in her office, she always had gospel music playing and blah, 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 blah. So that's my second. Third one, this is called, this lady, I don't remember, she came from the Dallas office. I don't remember what office she had came from, but I know the guys in my department, I'm going back to the guy that said he didn't want me to close his door. He was sitting next to this woman's office. So he told me, you know, they would say how, oh, so-and-so, we missed so-and-so until we found out what she was doing. She would dress nice. She was pretty. She stayed to herself. She was antisocial. She didn't mess with them. She didn't go to lunch with anybody. She didn't really talk to people. She always kept her door closed. The other ladies in the office said she could dress. She looked like a model. She was decked down. But they finally found out while she was decked down how she could afford to wear those designer clothes and designer shoes and purses, because homegirl basically allegedly stole $25,000 worth of Medicaid or TANF or AFDC money. How did she do this? According to one of my mentors, and he was a dude, an older guy, he'd been there for about 10 years. He said that he had been there about maybe 10 years, maybe not quite 10, because I think he eventually, with his wife, they moved to San Antonio. I think he was married to a Hispanic lady. I forgot what she was. I think she was a nurse or something. So they eventually moved to San Antonio. But he said that in the years that he worked, he only would do this particular case that this woman was doing once a year, maybe two. And once this woman had did this, they had started making the schedulers, the caseworkers, take their case, their file or folder, and you would give it to the supervisor, and then the supervisor will read it, and she will give it to another supervisor to proofread it. So basically what this girl was doing in the cases, the welfare or the Medicaid this lady was doing was called, I think it was called Grandpa or Grandma. It was where you get a flat $1,000. I'm not going to go into the details. You look it up. You're interested, you look it up. The person would get a flat $1,000 for keeping their grandchild, that you had to meet the income requirements, blah, blah, blah. So remember, my mentor said he will only do one of those type of cases once a year, maybe twice. So how did this young lady was able to do 25, supposedly she did 25 in 1 month. And some people from corporate came and got her and just basically whisked her away, and everything, however her office was just left there. But they came and they whisked her off, and when they came back, they said it was possibly 20, maybe a little bit more than 25,000. So she was just working $1,000 cases, and she did not think that the higher ups or whoever works the figures would not say, hey, this is really suspicious. How does this chick, I'm gonna just make up a name, how does Jane Doe do 25 of these grandma, grandpa cases, and you've got seasoned workers, managers that's only doing one a year or one every 6 months? That was very suspicious. So this chick allegedly took about 25,000 in 2 months, maybe more than 25,000, but I know I heard the word 25,000. And how did she get away? There's been rumors that they believe that our manager over our building liked her or was messing around with her. He was a married dude, walking around looking like a preacher, dressed in a big 3-piece suit, and his wife, she was a white woman, and she worked in our building. I don't know if she worked there permanently or full-time, but she worked in the building. So I don't really see how this woman could have got away with this. Someone, I'm just gonna say allegedly, somebody should have had known before when she did the first 5 cases, that, hey, how is it you doing 5,000 and you got people that only do this like once a year? Something not right. My next one. Again, I said earlier that managers, supervisors will call to check on their relative, their mom, their sister's food stamps, basically trying to hurry up a caseworker, try to hurry up another supervisor. Hey, your caseworker still got my sister's case, and she said she brought her stuff. Why hasn't her food stamps been done? That's a no-no. My supervisor was really good at that, because if you would tell her who it was, I could hear her down the hall hollering and screaming at him. You're not supposed to do that. Why are you calling over here? Lying about overtime. I think, people lie about overtime pretty much everywhere. Because when I worked at another government agency, we had a chick that claimed she was working on the weekend, and she would come in and swipe her badge and then go right back to her car, and then come back at the end of the day, like at 4 o'clock, and swipe it again and go back to her. I don't know why it took them so long, but I know it took them a couple months to find out that this chick had been falsifying overtime. So that was a different government agency, but it happened over here too. My next one of them I'm really thinking about leaving out. I talked to my I want to call this lady like my godmother, in a sense, to me. And she's like, I don't think you should put that in there. I don't think you should say that. Okay, so one of them is kind of funny. Co-worker told my supervisor at the time, I won't say she was cool, but she was kind of mean, kind of hard on us. She was also very religious, always had scriptures, always was quoting things, had a lot of, Christian pictures in her office. So one of the young ladies, and she was new, and she called the supervisor one day and she said, yes, I can't come to work because my baby's sick. My baby is sick. I forgot what my supervisor's name was. I'll call her Miss G. She said, Miss G, my baby is sick. I can't come to work. And I think she ended up missing 2 days on that same little story. So someone came in the office and the supervisor said, yeah, so-and-so can't come to work because her baby's sick. And the lady looked at her, and then she looked at, I wasn't there. I'm just hearing from what the people had said. And they said, Miss G, so-and-so don't have any kids. And she said, well, she told me, she said, well, we do know that when we all went to lunch one day, she said that she has a little baby poodle or something, and that's her baby, that's like her baby. And she's like, wait a minute. So all I know is when homegirl came to the office, I don't even know if she came to the office, but she was fired. She told my supervisor she couldn't come to work because her baby was sick. And the supervisor found out the baby was a dog. Yes. I have more, but I don't want to bore y'all because I have some other juicy stuff to talk about. I was going to say this one, but I'm not, since my godmother said that she was like, she didn't want me to say it because it would be too much. It would be too overwhelming. But I will say is that everybody needs to treat everybody respectful. Bullying, acting a fool, going crazy is not gonna get you anywhere. That's what, anywhere you go, whether you're at Walmart or you at the finance company, you at the payday loan place, you at the Social Security place. It's not just, because those people are human too. They have feelings, and some of them have some real feelings. And they can, be upset and be hurt, and sometimes even take it personally. Really just take it personally. So let's talk more about welfare fraud. Who is committing it besides our old boy Brett Favre? I can't get over Brett Favre. Your new welfare queen. I know y'all thought it was Pukisha. I know y'all thought it was somebody that was gonna look like Whoopi Goldberg. I know y'all thought it was gonna look like me. Okay, somebody look like, I don't know, whoever. So Brett Favre, I've got your new welfare queen and those 4 other people that was with him. I also saw where the LDS, I don't know if I'm saying it right, the people, the polygamy people, the Mormons, the people like in Utah, I think there's some groups in Texas and different places, they make the women go out and get food stamps. You know, I was seeing a lot of these big families. I saw some show running from polygamy or running. I forgot what it's called. The lady was helping women escape polygamy or whatever. And I didn't know that those people, I thought they were actually taking care of these kids. But they sending the women out there to get food stamps, okay? I saw also, I don't know if this was in New York City or where, they were showing a large group of Hasidic communities where the people were also getting benefits, and then also some scams as well. I just saw something that really got me.